Hello everybody, Damascus Fox here, bringing you another knife review video, and today I'll be reviewing this guy. This is the Demko 8020.5. This is a this is a production version of their 8020, which the 8020 is bigger with titanium and different steels. This is their first production knife, and this one's made in Taiwan, as you can see, which is pretty cool. I like Taiwan. They make some pretty good stuff. But first of all, let's get into the specs of this knife, and then I'm going to ramble about my personal opinions and preferences and blah, 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 and stuff like that. First of all, length. Length of the blade, overall length of the knife is, I think, about 7.5. Let's go with 7.5 inches. Blade length is approximately just a tad bit above 3.5, but the cutting edge is just right there at 3 inches. So pretty cool. Weight on this guy, .55. So not too heavy, not too light. Size comparison. Starting off with everyone's favorite, Spyderco PM2, Spyderco Para 3. So as you can see, it's pretty much comparable to the Para 3, just different blade, blade shape, so it looks a little different, but pretty much similar size. Up against the full-sized Benchmade bug out and the mini Benchmade bug out. So as you can see, this guy's a little bit more comparable to the full-sized bug out, but this guy's definitely a bit bigger and longer. Next, CJRB Feldspar small, CJRB Feldspar full-sized. So this guy is more comparable to the full-size Feldspar, but the full-size Feldspar I think is just a tad bit bigger, maybe by blade really, but otherwise everything else kind of a little similar. And last but not least, Cold Steel Spada medium and Cold Steel Spada XL. Booyah! So yeah, this one's smaller. Never saw that coming. And next, got height of the blade. So compared to the Para 3, as you can see, the height is a little bit comparable. Just the Para 3 is a tad bit higher because of that Spidey hole compared to Benchmade bug out. Benchmade bug out rides just a tad bit lower in your pocket, so it's not as high. Not sure if you can hear that, but I'm having a rainstorm outside, so I'm not sure if the mic's picking it up. So hope you're not getting too much interference in the quality of my audio. Alright, now with the width on this guy compared to the Spyderco Para 3, as you can see, this Para 3 is thicker, where this guy is definitely much thinner. The blade is a little bit more comparable to the bug out, where they both have the same amount of thickness. And now the blade thickness, if I get my calibers, there we are, zeroed in. There we go. It's actually, yeah, I want to make sure I get the thickest part of the blade. Let's zero it in again. There we go, so we're at 0.14. Oh wait, hold on, I had it crooked. 0.13. The spine. The handle is at 0.38, and the blade edge on it is 0.07. Now I'm not sure how accurate my measurements are with this, so just take that with a grain of salt. Yeah. Now let's do the cut test before I forget. Now I've never sharpened this knife, and it has seen only a mild bit of use, so this is still factory edge, and as you can see, still cuts phenomenally. It's just gliding through. It feels great. Sometimes you can have a knife that cuts, but it doesn't feel good. It feels gritty. It feels like it's like just mostly like tearing the paper in half and really slicing. This knife feels really good, and I definitely am satisfied with the edge on this. Definitely usable. Definitely well done. And this knife also comes with a nice little pouch, so you can have a little bed for your knife, tuck it in at night. Put it right in there, sing a lullaby. Even comes with a blanket. No, it's a microfiber cloth, which is really nice. And you got your Shark Lock Demko knives. Yeah, super cool. I like this. I like it when knives give you, I like it when companies give you these little pouches. They're fun. They're just nice to have. Excuse me. The price on this guy is on Blade HQ, Demko Knives website, and DLT Trading is $149.99 for just the base model, which is usually just gray and stonewash. It's an okay price. This one is the DLT Trading exclusive, which you add an extra $10. So this one is $159.99, which is okay. Pay a little extra money, and then you get the owner, braggers rights. Hey, I own an exclusive. Look at me, I'm cool. Which I like. I like exclusives. Blade HQ is the same. Get their exclusives. They throw another $10 on there. So that's just the pricing on Knife Center. It's actually $124.99, but they use a different steel, I think. Use that information as you will. This knife, the steel on it is AUS 10A, which in my experience with AUS 10A, it's a good steel. It's a budget steel, and I like it. It works for me. I think most people will actually be satisfied and just use AUS 10A, and I think it'll be fine. You don't really need to get caught up in all the premium steel kind of stuff. I mean, premium steels are really good, and as a knife enthusiast, definitely like premium steels. I'm like, ooh, that has 20 CV on it. I want it. Stuff like that. But don't get too caught up with it. You might miss out on some really cool knives if you act as too much of a steel snob. And I do not want to be a steel snob, because, to be honest, we don't need crazy steels. There's some people that definitely need certain performances from their steels, but as a general EDC knife, this AUS 10A will serve you just fine. But if you disagree with me, feel free to, give me your opinions down in the comments. I'll love to, hear people. I love to hear people's comments, or read their comments. It's always nice. And then it has Grivery handle scales, which Grivery has never been my favorite. I've never really cared for Grivery. It always feels it's not cheap. It's not like cheap, like it's gonna break apart, but it just feels cheap. Feels like plastic, and I don't like plastic scales. Cheap plastic scales. But Grivery is it's fine. It's just that mental thing of, oh, feels cheap, but it's gonna work just fine. As long as you just don't hit it with a hammer or anything like that. And then this guy has a flat grind with a clip point. You can also get the shark's foot, which is basically a sheep's foot, but they call it shark's foot. So respect its classification. And this one is black coated, which is cool. I always like a black coated blade. It always looks nice. And then So yeah, I mean the price might be a bit high for the materials that you get, but I know a lot of people are going to say that, they're going to say, budget steel with budget, or, cheap scales for $150, give or take. Yeah, that might be a bit much. They might be overcharging you on this, but if you look past just the materials itself and just think about, the build quality, Andrew Demko, they work a lot, really close with Cold Steel. He does Andrew Demko. If you're not familiar with him, he designed a lot of Cold Steel knives, and he's also the designer of the Triad Lock, which Cold Steel is very famous for. So Andrew Demko, he designed this knife as well, and they got their heat treat down really well. So every knife that I have from Cold Steel that uses OS 10A or even OS 8A, it works just fine, and it actually holds up really well for what I use them for. Uh, they do their builds really well. Now, of course, there's also going to be issues sometimes in quality control. That's just a known fact. But majority of the time, Cold Steel knives. So I'm assuming that Andrew Demko is holding this up to the same quality as how he did his Cold Steel knives as well. And I'm gonna assume that this is heat treated to perfection. So, and then you're also getting all of this, a lot of uh, I would say, CNC and all that kind of work. These are probably not easy to machine. I'm assuming these are not easy to machine. You got to make sure all these. A blackout. Yeah, of course. During my review, the obvious. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. I had a blackout. My lights went off. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So this is probably not that it probably takes a while to machine this properly and get everything assembled to the perfection that they did. It's actually really well built. The finish feels good. No, doesn't move and everything like that. It feels fantastic. Deployment feels really good. It's really smooth, and it has 3 ways of manipulating it. You got the finger hole, which is very easy to access. Sorry about that. I'm working at an angle, so there you go. And then you got the thumb stud, very easy to use. And then you can also just use gravity and just use the shark lock. Just flip it open. It works really well. I like how it's called the shark lock because it's a little fin. It's adorable. Little dorsal fin on your knife. It's a shark. And it's just very comfortable in hand. All these little the shape of this handle is really well designed. It's very comfortable in the hand. You even got this forward choil right here, so you can choke up, do some really nice detail work on it. Feels great. I like the way how it feels in hand. I know a lot of people don't like this. I'm fine with it. It's whatever. It's an ambidextrous lock, which is really cool. So lefties rejoice. But I'm kind of I can't find a lefty pocket clip. This is only a right hand pocket clip, so I'm not sure. You can't flip this to the other side because of the way how it's angled. So let me know if you found a left-handed pocket clip. I looked, and I couldn't really find one for the 8020. I'm assuming the 8020.5. I'm assuming that I saw one for the 8020. I'm guessing it might be compatible with the 8020.5, but I'm not sure because I don't own an 8020.5. 8020. I don't own an 8020. I own the 8020.5. Sorry about that. So that's just my opinion. I'm going to just justify the price on this. I think you're paying really for the branding, and you're paying for the shark lock. That's really what you're paying for. They're using budget materials, but it's definitely assembled with quality, and you're definitely paying for the branding and the shark lock. Andrew Demko, I think he probably knew that people want this shark lock and are willing to pay extra for it. I'm just guessing. That's just what I'm guessing. It's definitely worth it. I think you'll have a lot of fun with this knife. Some people may not like this right here, this little gap between the blades, but it's just the way how it's designed. It has to, fit in to there. You got your stop pin right there. It shoulders it quite a bit, so it goes like that. I don't think it's really that big of a deal. So, yeah. Now, in my opinion, this is probably going to be pretty controversial. I love the Axis lock, but actually I think this lock is just, to me, a hair better, and definitely a bit more fidgety. Don't get me wrong, I love the Axis lock. It works fantastic. It's really fun to use, very fidgety. I think this guy is just a tad bit more fidgety because you can use your index finger. You don't have to use your index finger plus your thumb on the sides and pull it down and then flick it in. This one you just use your index finger. So it's really easy just to manipulate. And the way how this lock is designed, as you can see, you know, it moves up and down and forward and back. So down, up, back, and forward. So that's one of the things that this knife has for it, which allows it to be manipulated super easy, and it just absorbs, or yeah, I think I'm using that word right. It gets locked in and it gets locked in to the open position and locked to the closing position very easily, where sometimes I have a problem with the disengagement where it does that bounce back. Sometimes I get that bounce back on some Benchmade knives, or sometimes it just feels a little sluggish and it just like stops right there. I don't get that with this knife. It's also running on bearings, which is also really nice. It feels really smooth. So that's just my opinion. Let me know what you like more. If you prefer Axis lock or the Shark lock, but I think the Shark lock is just a tad bit more fidgety and just a little bit more preferable in just my opinion. It's got like it's got a small spring in there instead of two small springs on the sides. So this knife is Andrew Demko said that this lock is comparable to his Triad lock. So if he's saying it, I'm going to trust him. I think this knife, this lock is definitely plenty durable and extremely tough. So yeah, that's one of the other reasons why I really like this knife. You can also use this right here as a thumb ramp. So you can put your thumb right there, nice and cozy. It's got nice, firm jimping, but not aggressive. So definitely gives you very, it locks in your thumb, but without chewing up your thumb, which is also really nice. It's got countersunk liners, which I really like, as you can see in there. They are skeletonized, so it cuts down on the weight, which is nice. I like that. I like countersunk liners. And you got yourself a lanyard hole right there. This knife is not the deepest of carry, so it's going to be sticking up that much out of your pocket. So the lanyard hole is being prioritized over the pocket clip. So I know a lot of people are probably going to dislike that, but it's whatever in my book. Yeah, just whatever. So, but yeah, finish on this knife is really nice. I think it's definitely worth the money. It's just going to be fun. One of the things I noticed that when this knife dropped, this knife was very hyped, very popular because of that Shark lock. One of the things that I really think that made this knife so hyped and popular is because this is the first production knife from Andrew Demko. And, at first you can only get the 8020, which is a bit bigger than this one. But if you want that Shark lock, you had to spend $450, $500 or so on that. And not everybody could just throw that money out on a knife. Not everybody wants to throw that kind of money out on a knife. I would if I had that money. But, some people don't want to pay that much money on a knife. But a lot of people want this Shark lock because it's really cool and it sounds great. Listen to that clinkety-clackety. Just love it. It sounds so good. Yeah. And if anybody doesn't love the way how this sounds, they're kind of weird. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say that. You're weird. You're weird. Nah, I'm sorry if that felt like a personal attack on you. It's just, I love the sound. It's very metallic. It just sounds so good. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why I think that this knife was so hyped. Is people were really excited that, 150? I could definitely do 150, and I get the Shark lock. Don't really care about the materials. I just want that Shark lock. I think that's one of the reasons why this knife uses budget materials, because they knew that you really just wanted the Shark lock, and that's really it. And it's definitely a much more obtainable price. So it made this knife much more the Shark Lock much more obtainable than the previous 8020, which was very hard to get. I mean, despite the price, just getting one was hard to find. I can't find an 8020, so even if I had the money, just hard to find. Um, so I think that's one of the reasons why that made this knife so particularly hyped, was just because people really wanted that Shark Lock. And then, as of course, as always, when things become popular, you're going to get people mimicking said item. So after this guy dropped, it didn't take long. Even Cold Steel jumped on this lock type bandwagon, and they came out with their Atlas lock. I believe it was called the Atlas lock. Um, I don't have that knife. Definitely want to give it a try just to see how it feels compared to this one, which is using basically the same thing. But the lock is a little bit more down here. Uses a little bit more of a lever system and a cutout down here. And it basically acts the same way as this guy. So, I mean, I'm not sure. You give me your opinions on that. I think that was a little bit shady, a little crummy on Cold Steel's part. Because Andrew Demko wouldn't give them the rights to use the Shark Lock, so they're like, oh, fine, then we'll just make our own and call it the Atlas Lock. And yeah, it's not the Shark Lock, but it runs the same way. I don't know. It seemed a little shady, but I don't know. Give me your opinions on that situation. I don't really pay stuff like that too much mind, but it's just that's how I see it. It just seemed kind of funny, like they're copying but without copying. That makes sense. And then we jumped on that bandwagon with their knife. I think it was called the Vision, and it has the Super Lock, which is basically this, just longer. It's like a lock bar that goes all the way from here, like a big metal bar that goes from here all the way to the tang of the blade and then embeds itself in there. And it has like a spring down here. I don't have one, but I've seen a few videos of it. It looks really cool, but it's much more exposed than this guy, so I'm not sure how that's going to affect performance of the lock. But it looks pretty cool. So it's just funny because when things get popular, other people want to jump on that wagon and try it out. Same thing happened with the Axis lock. Once that patent went up, everybody was like, I'm going to make my own version of that. And you got the XR lock and the, pivot lock and all that kind of stuff, which is basically the Axis lock, just different a little bit. But yeah, so that's just my general thoughts on this knife. That's my general thoughts on the hype around this knife. I think it's definitely it's earned the hype. It's definitely well worth. It's definitely earned that hype. This is a really nice, just EDC knife. I can definitely see a lot of people loving this, and I can also see a lot of people disliking it for some reason. But yeah, fidgetability is high. Performance is definitely definitely good. I like this knife. I'm okay with shelling out $160 on budget materials just so I can feel this beautiful lock. So, yeah, that's just my opinion, and that's just me justifying this knife being overpriced for what you get. Don't just price a knife on materials alone. There's a lot more that goes through a knife design than just materials. There's a lot of work that goes into these things. So remember to keep that in mind whenever you judge a knife by its price. Well, I hope you like this video. I know I tend to ramble, but yeah, I really like this knife. Alright, so I hope you like this video. If you like more knife and EDC related content, check out my other videos. Remember to subscribe because I post every Saturday and every other Sunday, and there'll be more knives and more videos in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, I'm also doing shorts again, so keep an eye out for those. I usually post them usually on Fridays, but I'll probably post them here and there just to see if I can get a little bit more attention towards my channel, because I really want to grow. I want to build up this channel. I really want to help people. I really want. I love talking about knives, and I really want to engage a fan base. I want people to just, I want to help people so they buy things that they like, and I love talking knives, and I love helping people with knives. So I will be doing more shorts because shorts are fun. Everyone loves shorts, right? Alright, well, I think I rambled on long enough. I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye. You just gotta love that sound. Come on. Beautiful. Bye, for realsies.